Hello. This week's ramblings, I'm going to celebrate the fact that I have a microphone. I'm going to mourn the fact that the camera that I purchased that I thought would work with said microphone seems to not work super great. And so I'm troubleshooting that. Thankfully, the phone is working. Um, so this morning, I went to Ollies, which is a local discount type store. It's really hard to explain it. The best explanation that I have is that it's like if a Walmart meets a Harbor Freight. It's got lots of different stuff. You honestly feel like you're going to a flea market type deal where you're just not sure. Some stuff's great deals, some stuff is not super great deals. Got some pretzels for the youth group for some future time and event for snacks. Yeah, I I bring up Ollies simply because one, rambling is sort of the point, just the idea of what would you talk about on a long run, but also I know a lot of people have stigma around where they shop, and I definitely have not a lot of stigma around shopping. I'm gonna buy what I can at a good price, and doesn't matter if the store has cheap comic books as well as cheap snack food as well as cheap lawn furniture. I guess the biggest goal is that it's not actually cheap, but less expensive. But anyhow, uh, just moving along straight through the world of thoughts. Tuesday morning, my knees, hip flexors, IT bands were just super tight. Actually, my legs were twingy. You could almost say starting Monday night through Tuesday. I had to alter my run that I did on Tuesday. I was really hoping to hit it hard because I'm going to be running the Churchill's Half Marathon on November 8th. And they are not sponsoring me yet for that. But so I was really disappointed that my body just seemed to reject my goal. And then Wednesday, I didn't run. And then Thursday, I had a fantastic run. And I think about how often pain seems to overwhelm our mind, or the difficulty overwhelms our mind in a moment that we are experiencing it. But the truth of the matter is, a lot of things will pass. I remember one particularly hard time. I don't remember if it's parenting with kids and sleeping and whatnot. That my mom just simply said, "This too shall pass." And there's a lot of wisdom in being able to refocus and regroup to that truth whenever you're going through something. Which is what we're trying to teach our girls, especially since they're racing in cross country. This Sunday is their championship race for the area element and the elementary schools in the area, and you're racing by grade level, and so they're gonna have a pretty decent race. We'll see how it goes. Shaping up to be a hot afternoon though, but just helping the girls see that if it's going to hurt no matter what while they're racing, you can push through it. The pain is only temporary. But then also think about anytime you're in an argument with someone or a conflict or your feelings are hurt, just trying to allow that truth to be there in the moment, but then acknowledging this is only momentary or temporary. Um, no, so thinking through all the different items to ramble and think about, this upcoming Sunday is the second Sunday of catechism, the second Sunday of the adult Sunday school class. And for the adult Sunday school class, they're essentially working through what the catechism class will be working through at some point, which is the Apostles' Creed. And I am working through my second draft of the curriculum because I wrote it for the adults. And it's just amazing when you think about, how do you introduce a topic that stems from the Apostles' Creed with having it be enough that people can discuss, but not too much to be overwhelming? And that's one of the current issues that I'm thinking through, because in the Apostles' Creed, it's about 100 10 words long, if I'm remembering correctly. And each word, or every 2 words in it, is capable, every 2 to 3 words is capable of being its own individual unit of study. And I'm trying to stick it into a 26-week unit. But whenever we are learning about something, we must always recognize that as our if experience is a bubble, our experience of the bubble grows, which creates more surface area for us to realize that there are more topics and blind spots that we need to study. And that's true in theology, that's true in life, that's true in any sport that you do. So shout out to my athletes who are gonna, rip me on this, but I played a year of college basketball. I've played fairly high level sports and been around a lot of college athletes, and I've been around running a lot. And you would think that my level of understanding of the sport is, in my opinion, high. But the more I walked around people who really knew the sport, I saw that there was so much more to know and understand, which makes me think about how different point guards that I've watched play. And some people it comes naturally, some people they learn. If you think about guards like Kobe Bryant, who studied everything about the game and became better, as well as having just obviously a natural God-given athleticism. Dennis Rodman, I think is either Joe Dumars or Isaiah Thomas, tells the story, and I'm sure other of the Pistons who played with Dennis Rodman tell the story. He would stand under the basket during warm-ups whenever he had a new teammate, and he would watch how many times the ball rotated in the air. It'd be backspin. And so that way he could know that whether or not someone's shot was on or off and be able to appropriately place himself for a rebound. And here is a guy who could touch the top of the backboard, but he was studying things well enough to know that he needed to go a different place. And then you have guys like Phil Jackson, Rick Carlisle, Jason Kidd, who all of them were NBA players, different success level for each of them. And then they become coaches, and they're still learning the game as a coach from an all-around standpoint. But as humans, we typically like to make statements that are beyond the scope of what we actually do or do not know. And on my wall is a picture of Bigfoot, drawn by my oldest daughter, and she gave it to me as a gift. And someone came in and they said, "Oh, nice Bigfoot." And so, I told them, "Yeah, I really enjoy Bigfoot and Bigfoot legends and the stories of Bigfoot." And I can't remember if I asked them if they thought if he thought that Bigfoot was real, and he said no, because with our infrared scanning capability, we would have found him by now. And it just broke my heart because, the hubris of modern man is to say that we have fully explored everything that needs to be explored and we know everything that needs to be explored. I remember a scientific study in the 2000s that was started of mapping and scanning the ocean floor. And just in a short amount of time, and I believe the study is either completed or still going on. I mean, the ocean floor is so vast. I want to say 1 million new species of plants and animals and algae were discovered. And so you think about how much we don't know. So then all that around, as I'm a teacher teaching Sunday school, catechism, or teaching a youth group, or preaching a sermon on a Sunday, I need to approach it with a humility that I'm not going to know everything, but I need to know what I know and explain that to the best of my ability and help connect that to why it's important to know and understand it. We operate in a social media world and landscape where people will say where they will give their opinion on anything quickly, rather than holding their tongue before they know the truth of a whole situation. And I am incredibly envious of the people who don't have a Facebook, and so they don't see half of the skirmishes that are going on. But it's an interesting world. It's a fun world that we live in. Find different ways to enjoy the world and to think about it. So for the people who've stuck around and you are in the greater Toledo area, tomorrow, October 3rd, is a family fun day in the afternoon. And come and just enjoy times of pumpkin painting and some mask making. Then on October 11th, junior high and high school students, there's a hayride. So contact me. You can comment in the comments, find a way to contact me. And then I really hope the noise of the notifications doesn't come through the video. But then also, finally, on October 1st, we are doing a family event where we are recreating a hayride on a super miniature scale. So instead of getting Clydesdales or tractors to pull a big trailer, we are going to have radio flyer wagons, and we're going to pull kids around the block. So anyhow, I'm sure there's a lot more that I can ramble about. The music or comics or cartoons. Yeah, my wife and I are watching through the TV series Person of Interest, which is just a really interesting exploration of artificial intelligence, as well as just questions about existentialism. And it really reminds me a lot of the original story of Frankenstein, where the monster has been created, and that conversation between the monster and its imagination of its creator. And Frankenstein is not the monster. Frankenstein's the person who made the monster. So it's almost a modern version of that, mixed in a little bit with Sherlock Holmes. So the show that I want to watch after we're done with this is the show In the Neighborhood, or Neighborhood, with Cedric the Entertainer. I've been seeing lots of those clips on my YouTube reels, and it seems like one of the shows that I'd really enjoy. All right, I'm going to try to keep these short until I'm actually interviewing someone about a longer idea, longer topic. If you have questions about my opinion on anything that you want me to ramble about, put it in there, and I'll put a caveat in the next video that's person XYZ asked me this question, so I'm going to talk about it, and then people can't be mad about my opinion whenever I share it. All right, have a great day.